Well, a few months ago, I introduced you to BPS knives, where for under $20, we got a Ukrainian bushcraft knife with high carbon steel, leather sheath, and wood handles. Well, for that price of about 15 bucks, it's a cool little blade, but it's a partial tang, and the first model I had, when I was beating on it pretty hard, I broke. The second one was able to hold up a little bit better, but the cool thing is that BPS Knives offers full tang bushcraft knives for not much more. That's right, folks. Welcome back to another video here at Gideonstactical. I'm your host, Aaron, and I'm excited for another budget-friendly bushcraft video. Man, there's just nothing better than just finding like a $20 to $25 knife that has a lot of really cool lines, and in this case is full tang that come with some nice little leather sheaths. So I've had a chance to play with both of these knives, get a good feel for them, harp on them, beat on them. And we're going to walk through what their capabilities are, their lines, their materials, and for between about $21 for this model and about 25 bucks for this model, what are the benefits to getting something like this with an exposed full tang versus just sticking with a more heavy-duty companion? And as you can see, there's a lot of similarity between this model from BPS Knives and a Mora companion or heavy-duty companion. So we'll break down both of these knives, show you a bunch of beautiful blade footage, seeing them working on a bunch of projects, and just help you determine whether or not these full tang versions of these bushcraft knives from BPS Knives is worth looking into, or it's better just to stick with some Moras.
All right, guys, so here we are. We're gonna have some fun and just break down the tools. Now, as I said earlier, Ukrainian made. These are made out of 1066 high carbon steel with the hardness of Rockwell of 56 to 57 is what they are Rockwelled at. From what I've experienced, it's pretty decent heat treat, very similar to a lot of other high carbon, budget friendly tools. I would say from all my original experience, it's holding up about as well as a Mora would be, particularly with that Scandi grind, which means, it's a very precision, sharp tool. But with that type of steel and at that Rockwell, you will have to resharpen it pretty frequently. This is not a super steel by any means, but it wasn't overly soft. I was expecting it to maybe be a little soft. It's not noticeably soft, and definitely better than, say, like a 1055 steel on like a Cold Steel GI Recon or GI Tanto, or some of those other tools that are out there. So for the price, I think it's a decent high carbon steel. Uncoated, so you can do all kinds of cool stuff because you can unscrew them. You can do kind of your own patina, different things like that. True Scandi grinds on both of these, and then they're going to have Ashwood handle scales that have been screwed in. Now, on this smaller version here, this is the BS1FTS, this little guy right here. This guy's going to have a 3.6 inch overall blade length. It's about 0.1 on the overall thickness, so pretty thin slicer. Got some good flex to it though, like what we saw with the other one, so that it's going to spring back into place. It's not bowy, it's not like flopping all over the place, but there's a little bit of flex in there, which is really good, and you want that. So it's not rigid and going to snap on you, or something like that. The handle scales are done well, good contouring all the way around. Really no issue there. There's a little bit that you can see where there's maybe a lip where it wasn't like perfectly machined. At certain little spots there that you could either hit, you could stain yourself. You can see there that the guard on the steel goes past where the wood handles are. So, that would have been nice to have it actually flush with that. You could obviously hit that with a grinder if you wanted to make it flush. It's not an issue for me one way or the other. That 90-degree spine, throw sparks, scrape, do that type of stuff. And then the handle with my large size gloves fits well. It's not too small. It's on the smaller end though. And just to give you some perspective here, I'll roll in a pocket knife. Let's see here. Here's the Gerber Edict, about the same blade length. You can just see there. So, it's definitely a compact fixed blade for sure, but I think it's a good little tool to either just play with yourself if you like those smaller bushcraft knives, or for either females, or to gift to maybe like a Boy Scout, a child. You know, it'd be like a good starter knife that if you want to go something that's not all polymer and plastics like what Moras are. And I think that that's really the major selling point for these knives, is that for about the cost of a Mora, maybe a few dollars more, you're getting something that is a full tang, and it's got wood and leather instead of polymer and rubber. So polymer and rubber is fine. I have no issue, and I'm not against it at all. I love it, my Moras, but this just gives you a different feel. And then you're actually getting a good, you know, a leather sheath there, sewn in, no issues, double, you know, stitching along, and then a centerpiece, and then that guy will just sit in there. And it's like 2.7 ounces. I mean, very, very lightweight. So it did great. There was really no issues there with that design. And I'll just roll in the original one that we took a look at here that is not full tang. And this is a great little carver, and actually will have a little bit of a fuller handle. I actually like the handle ergonomics on the original model that I'm annotating in the model numbers. I can't remember all the model numbers off the top of my head. This one is a partial tang though. And this one actually has just kind of a little bit bigger, fuller handle. So unless you feel like full tang is needed in some way, shape, or form, which on these size knives, I'll argue you don't really need full tang, this is actually going to be a little bit more ergonomic in my mind, the original one that we took a look at. That one will also come with a leather sheath, and that one's about 15 bucks versus the 21 for the full tang model. Then as we transition to the larger BS3 FTS, this one, I'm just going to get real with you guys. I mean, it is taken directly from a Mora companion or heavy duty companion. There's no way around it. So, I mean, that I'm not a super big fan of, but you know, it's a different version of it. The things that I will, again, touch on is that I love my Mora heavy duty companion. I think everyone should own one. The polymer, it's super strong, great texture, great high carbon steel for the price, and it's around 20 bucks, good polymer sheath. But for some people, you maybe have that and you have like 4 other Moras and you're like, yeah, they're great, they're awesome, but I just want something different. Well, then that's what really you get with this, because I will argue that this companion will be able to handle in strength anything that this BPS knife can do. Now, again, it's going to have those handles, scales that you can unscrew. You got the full tang there. It does have a 90-degree spine. Again, the 1066 steel. It's going to be about the same length at 3 7/8, so 4 inches of blade length. Very similar, you know, shape and style in that regard. No lanyard hole. And the handle scales are not super well finished in the sense that there's a lot of little lips all the way around it, so you could hit it with a sander if you wanted to, you know, do different things with it. I would have liked to have just the handles not have so much lip there and just be more flush with the tang itself. And then the screws are not recessed. You're going to see them kind of protruding slightly. The other one on the other full tang, it is recessed. So they are in such a place that with my hands, you never feel them. Like I don't notice it on either end. On the neck, definitely, and then back here, you don't notice it. But you're going to get exactly very, very similar ergonomics to a heavy-duty companion. It's about the same thickness at 0.11. The heavy-duty companion is 0.12. You can see there. I would say that the BPS is probably just slightly beefier, so if you even like a little bit beefier handle, that's what you'll get with that. And again, just the full tang and just a different vibe. I mean, that's honestly what it is. It's a different vibe, different feel, good performer, leather sheath. I can't seem to, and maybe it's just the rubber on the heavy-duty companion, but it doesn't really want to go in. You could, with some work, I'm just afraid I might like puncture the leather back here if I push really hard. You can maybe like wet work it and make the sheath work for a heavy duty companion, and because you can get the sheaths aftermarket just themselves for I think like 10 bucks or something like that. So that's something to consider with what you're getting. But on Amazon, 25 bucks for this model, 21 for the other model. It's a different, you know, option. And they perform. They absolutely work as a good little bushcraft knife, and it's just a different capability and different feel than a Mora. And it definitely has a more retro, old world feel than what the modern polymers give you on a Mora. So it's just kind of, you know, do you want a different flavor? If you were to ask me between the two, I would definitely go with a Mora heavy duty companion first, and then over time, if you want something a little bit different, then go with the BPS.
Well, folks, to wrap it all up for you, it's a cool another option for not a lot of money. Between the two, if you don't own either Moras or these BPS yet, go with the Moras first, in my opinion. I like the handle ergonomics. They are just about bomb proof, particularly like the heavy duty companion. And then down the line, for either nostalgia reasons or you just like leather and wood feel more and you want the actual full Tang that you can see, well, these are going to perform well, particularly for that price point. So you can just have a cool collection of budget-friendly bushcraft knives, and you can choose which one you want to work with that day depending on the project or what trip you might be doing. It's nice to have a few to gift to people, to have people borrow when you're out with friends and family. So I think it's a good option out there on the market. Go ahead and check them out, see what else they have. They have several other designs that they are making. They seem to be producing more designs on a pretty regular basis. And again, if these are sold out, they come back into stock pretty regularly on Amazon. So you can always just check back, and within a couple weeks, they're usually back in stock. So thanks guys so much for coming over today, checking out the channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. Any questions that you have, I'll try to answer in the comments below. You can see that other video popping up. And I invite you to subscribe and become part of the GT family, throwing up videos and content like this every single week. Love you guys. Always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.